Good morning, good morning, good morning. You are listening to Church Without Walls. We come to you every Monday morning, 11 to 12 Central Standard Time. Every Monday morning, we in the beautiful studio of the New Orleans Talk Network. We invite your call, 3 area code 504 341 8255. We come to you every Monday morning, Church Without Walls. We want to knock down a wall that may be standing in your way. We all have problems. We all have walls in our way. And that's our reason for being on the radio every Monday morning, 11 to 12. We realize in our life that we're going to have disappointment, we'll have setback. You're going to get knocked down, but when you get knocked down, you got to get up. That's the most important thing. When you are knocked down, you get back up. My name is Charles Stewart. The co-host is the Reverend Anthony Williams, who's not with us today, but we have in our studio, we have a studio guest today. Is good friend, Mr. Harry Lucas, is a well-known contractor in our city. He is sitting in today, and he's our special guest. Before we go into our topic today, going to be, what are your plans for the future? But before we go into the topic, I'd like to make a few comments on what's going on at this present time and what's going on in our world. Many know that we lost two great men that many of us, we viewed them on our television. We even hear their records, and we know an awful lot about them. One being Jerry Lewis, who a gentleman who I know everyone remember him from all the telethon that he did for the kids. And I think he raised over $6 billion during his career as standing in for the young kids. Many of those I know, y'all may know him by some of the comedy shows that he did and some of the telethon that he did over the years. I know every year that he would come on. And also we lost another great man. We lost Dick Gregory, who is one of the great person that I have got to know. And I got to know him personally, Mr. Dick Gregory, who was a great comedian. To me, he gave up a great career. He was the first black that I know that was accepted by the white community, the first black comedian that was accepted. But he gave that up to be an activist to help the black community. And certainly I commend him for that. I got to know him. And matter of fact, he spoke at, many of y'all know about the organization that I'm associated with, the Coalition for Leadership Development. He was one of our speakers one year, and he came down, and normally someone of that status, you have to pay a lot of fees. Most of these guys, you have to give them from anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to be your speaker. He came down, he did it because he knew it was an organization that was fighting for the community, and he came down for the cause. And I thank him for that because I was, last Saturday, was speaking to a gentleman out in Baton Rouge, and he is a good friend with Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson manager. So I was telling him that the organization that from time to time we give event, and that we would like to, say, if Mike coming down, could I do a piggyback? Now, for the listening audience who may not understand what a piggyback is when someone coming to town that is famous, that they coming here already next month, so you find out when they're going to be there and why they there since they coming there. Would they be kind enough to stop by your event to give your organization a little boost in your fundraising? And he said, oh, I talked to Mike and see what he can do to help you out. He said, no problem. So he did. He was a man of his word. He called me back about 20 minutes later. And when I had made it back on my way from Baton Rouge, he called me. He said, oh, man, he said, I got some good news. I said, good news. He said, yeah, I talked with Mike. He said, you'll do it for $20,000. I said, $20,000? And other words, must didn't understand the piggyback all that just a fee. But anyway, saying that to say this, is that was the kind of man that Dick Gregory was. He didn't charge. He could have said, I want 10,000, 5,000, 20,000, because during those days he was very, very popular. Y'all know he marched with Dr. King. On almost any major march protest around the world, he would go on a hunger strike for our community. And I just wanted to from Church Without Walls, if it's anybody in the family, those who love him know him, we certainly have him, his family, in our prayer. Saying that to say this, we hope that everyone enjoy your weekend. And for those that may have some problems during the week, we all going to have problems. But thank God that we are here today, and it certainly always says it's a beautiful day. And I always say it's a great sunshiny day or it's a great rainy day. Whatever day that God lets you wake up, it's certainly a great day. And the day just happened to be a good old hot day. But we just glad that God letting us participate in this day. So again, I said to our listeners, thank you for listening. I want to do a shout out to Watson, Reverend Dr. D. Dunn, who always be listening, to BJ, and all our listening audience. If I didn't call your name, you know I love you. And thank you for watching and listening to Church Without Walls. Again, I said that we're not a church. It's just the name of the show, but we are the church. So everyone, you're the part of this here. When I say Church Without Walls, remember that you are a part of God's church, because God said that y'all is the church. So that's why we come to you every Monday morning. We go to our church houses on Sunday, and our pastor, bishop, whatever they may be, elder, give us the word, and we should share it with our brothers and sisters when we leave out of our worship hall. So I said to you this Monday morning, we come to you to share with you what God give us. And again, I said our topic today is going to be, what are your plans for the future? And again, I say our studio guest is Mr. Harry Lucas. Good morning, Mr. Lucas. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Mr. Stewart. It's a pleasure to be here. I always wanted to come on air to be a part of Church Without Walls. Church Without Walls mean a lot to me in many different ways. Number one, we could look at it that the church is in our heart. We carry the church around every day, all day, and we don't have a particular wall other than the physical structure that we got that house the heart of our life and the essence of our life in us. So when we look at it as work got to be done and propagating God's word, that means we in open territory. We don't have no particular wall, so we got the freedom to go anywhere, geographical speaking, and moving around, interacting, and doing what we're supposed to do as believers. And today, Charles called me suddenly and asked me, would I like to come on the show? I told him I indeed would find this as a pleasure. And some of the things that we want to kind of talk about is preparation. You know, Charles had made mention that sometime if you have a game plan, then you could be more successful in fulfilling that goal or reaching whatever plan you got when proper preparation is in place. So one of the things Charles had kind of made mention to me, if you don't have a plan in operation right now, how can you have a future? My position is if you don't have proper preparation now, then there may not be a future because what you do right now determine whether any doors will be shut for the future. Because we're not guaranteed the future, but preparation should always be made as like we're going to be here for tomorrow. I hear many people say, oh, you can't do this and that. If that's the case, then we wouldn't have no preparation to our future. Our future depends on what we do today.
Mr. Luker, you're so right about what you're saying about you have to have a plan. And we want our listening audience to that is listening and watching. We like for them to get in on this conversation. Comes Lucas more. Got more questions that I wanted to ask you about some of the things that we're gonna talk about in the past. We're gonna talk about that later on. But we would like for our listening audience to get in on this area code 504-341-8255. Also, you can view us on Facebook and YouTube. And certainly, Mr. Lucas, that preparation, like you said, is a lot of time people, we react instead of, like you're saying, instead of preparing yourself. For instance, what's going on in our world right now, Mr. Lucas, we react instead of preparing yourself. And when I look back in the past and see the progress that's been made in America, okay, number one, if we go back to the Jim Crow days, Jim Crow, the plan that he put forward against the African American community, he had the plan that wasn't nothing that he just thought up overnight.
No.
And for us to get out of this situation, you got to make a plan to get out of it. Since it's put there, ain't nothing you can do about it. It's there already. But you can get yourself out of the situation if you make a plan. I know Dr. Andrew Young, I was able to be in his company several times, and I know in a lot of the meetings, he always had this thing about him, Mr. Lucas, regardless what you said, what was going on. He said you got to prepare yourself and plan for step one. That doesn't happen. You can't do nothing about it. Let's deal with the future. In other words, what he was saying, Mr. Lucas, that if a person hits you aside the head, you're going to retaliate back. Now, here's the situation with that, Mr. Lucas. If they got 20 people and one of them decided to hit you side your head, and all of them together, they done plan on what they're going to do you. If you retaliate back, you're not going to win that. So what you would have to do, you would have to plan on how you're going to deal with these individuals. That puts you ahead of the game when you start the planning what you're going to do instead of reacting a situation. And I know we got to go to a commercial break, Mr. Lucas. After that commercial break, I want to ask you some things. I know you went through a setback in life, and you prepared yourself, and you made yourself a better person that you were before the situation came up. And I only can believe that only happened because you prepared yourself for the situation that you know that you had to deal with, and you made plans. So after commercial break, we'll be back with our guest, Harry Lucas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Join in on Mondays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for Breaking the Silence with Dr. Patricia Fry. There are no limitations or boundaries. We talk about life, and guess what? That includes you. So download the app today, New Orleans Talk Network, and subscribe on YouTube. That's every Monday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. New Orleans Talk Network, Breaking the Silence with Dr. Patricia Fry.
Happy Merry Mondays. It's your girl, Mary J. I want you to tune in with me to Real Talk with Mary J on New Orleans Talk Network every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Then follow me to blogtalkradio.com/Real Talk with Mary J at 10 p.m. It's going to be a Merry Monday every Monday at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. You've just tuned in to New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, this is Jill Samuel with Faith That Works. Join us every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time and 12 noon on New Orleans Talk Network as we change the lives of people with the Word of God by equipping the body of Christ to evangelize the world while reconciling people back to God. Let us continue to carry the water to the desert because Jesus is the living water.
Stop this hauling water to the sea.
Hello, this is Dr. Glenda E. Williams.
This is Charles Stewart.
Dr. Anthony Williams.
And I want to encourage you to join Church Without Walls every Monday morning from 11 a.m. to 12 noon.
And we want to encourage you to promote God's plan and not man's plan.
Don't you dare.
Steady difference.
The New Orleans Talk Network has added hundreds of listeners to our email database. But we don't have you. Make sure that you are in the know by sending us your email address. Go to the NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com and send us your email contact so that we can send you action matters, community events, show topics, and a whole lot more. Go to the contact page and email us today your address. That's NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Go to the contact page, send us that email address today.
We are back. You are listening to Church Without Walls. We are in the studio of the New Orleans Talk Network. My name is Charles Stewart. We come to you every Monday morning, 11 to 12, Central Standard Time. Our studio guest today is businessman Harry Lucas. We're certainly happy to come in your home again. 504-341-8255. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Our guest, Mr. Lucas, is a businessman, and he shared with me some time ago that he was incarcerated as a young man, and he's seen his life ahead of him, and he did not know when he was going to be free. And there was a possibility it could be a long time or forever. He did not know, but he put together a plan. And the plan that he put together with the help of I don't want our studio people forget, he put the Lord first. The Lord was a part of his plan also. And he asked the God to guide him and lead him. And he put together a plan. He's sitting here a free man with me today, but what I'm fascinated with him about is he had a plan when he got to be a free man. When he got out of jail, he had a plan. And I can tell y'all that I done visit his home and that he have in his neighborhood, he probably got the largest house on the block. And so you're looking at a man that people that were free didn't have the plan that he had. And so God been good to him, and God bless him. And I tell the audience, put God first, and everything is possible. Mr. Lucas?
I agree, Deacon Charles, and some of the topics that you had mentioned, some of the statements you had made, definitely apply to my life. And a lot of time, we don't have time to make a plan. Sometimes we got to deal with things as they occur, make an instrumented approach. And I believe with faith and good intent, God's gonna guide you and put that wall of protection. That would happen to me. And a lot of time in this life, since we're going through, and we have a very unique situation as African-American people, and our situation is such that we don't have no real hand in what hand being dealt to us, but at the same time, only factor that we do have, we don't have to accept that hand that's being given. And as you say, once you're being knocked down, just a mechanic or Paul Parry jump up without a game plan from what you have been knocked down is doing the same thing. That's why it's so important to understand that our past is our guide. Our guide enables us to see what we shouldn't and what we should not do. And a lot of time, as God had done for me, I had no idea that God was going to transform my life like he done. And it bring me back to some biblical teaching, especially when you look at Jonathan, that was allegedly swung into the whale's belly. God had a purpose of punishing him, to transform his life, send him to another level of consciousness and make him respect and have love and compassion for his brother. Same applies to me in a different way. Being a young man, good intent, misguided, being rebellious to my parents. So God said, Harry, I got a plan. And my plan is to send you in the most vicious, notorious place called Angola at a young man. Little did I know that that was the birthmark of my some existence to see life in the real sense, the way I see it. I'm proud to have been exposed to that form of life because it enabled me to see life in a better way. My brothers and sisters, or people in general, I want you to realize that I had no idea that God was going to come in and make a transformation, a change in my life. And up on that, not being ready, being rebellious, and then something happened. It took death to make me come to my senses. Then when my senses started setting in and being around good people, recognized my potential, and told me once I stopped playing stay-in games and started playing get-out games, I wouldn't be relegated to that plantation not even another year. And behold, God had that plan working. Less than a year, I made a transformation completely, transition completely out of that plantation, coming to New Orleans, and met a lot of people who was looking at me with pitiful eyes and different, oh, brother, you've been rehabilitated. No, you can't be rehabilitate a mind. You rehabilitate a finger, something that's being broken, want to get that back in its same store, because rehabilitation means to restore. I made a complete change in my life, and God was guiding me even then because all the vicious things I was doing to others, he came in and changed that in my life while in the plantation. So when I came out here, I had love and compassion in my heart. We're trying to do what's right. And right then, only then from the day of release, the next day I was working, been working ever since, and been able to help others. I enjoy being able to help others. I'm in a position to help others. My life been nothing but a great life because I have no regrets of any of my life because all of my life add up to the man I am today. And if I say if maybe I wouldn't have been in Angola, this and that, I would be living a lie because God had a greater plan. Because look what he done for me. Took an old wreck like me and brought light into my life to put light in other people's lives. And Charlie, again, say I'm proud to have been a part of this, and I hope some of the insight that we exchanging and swapping around have and will help some people. But my question to everybody, never resign to what somebody else give you. Go into the real teaching and find God in your life, and God is that wall of protection. So the church is alive.
Yes, Mr. Lucas. I hope that our listening audience, they listening to somebody that have experienced being incarcerated, and they they change their life around. It's not oftentimes you would hear people say that people begin to realize as they get a little closer to God now, is that the bad thing that happened in your life, and I always tell people that God is a mean dude that time, because he allows certain things to happen in people's lives, in all our life. But it make us better people. And what I mean about that, Mr. Luke, you said a while ago that you played a hand that was dealt to you, and if you sit down in a card game, and once the card dealt out, well, you don't have the luxury of saying what kind of hand you want. You got to play the hand that you dealt. But you can take that hand and make it a good hand. Sometimes you can take that bad hand, and it's actually a good hand. You win with it sometimes. So what I'm saying to our listening audience is that in our life, God allows certain things to happen to us. And that means, like people always say, the devil did this, but the devil can't do you nothing unless God allow him to do it. And we need to understand that. I mean, we may bring certain things on us, and after we done went too far, well, God allows certain things to happen the same way like with Job. I mean, the devil couldn't do him nothing. He had to get permission from God. And Mr. Look, what I'm telling you is what happened in your life. God had to permit that to happen, but he knew it was going to make Harry Lucas a better man for the future.
I agree, and then I'll disagree, because if I had my way, I think I'd have still been sort of rebellious. But then when I humble myself, I learned first to be humble. And by being humble, I was hearing God. At first, I was just having people say different things, but it didn't sink in. But when it started sinking in, then my action toward other people's love and compassion was shown to my fellow man. And then only then, I began to believe that it's my obligation to enlighten my brothers and sisters rather than to keep them in the dark. And I firmly believe today, I never stated that I dealt with the hand that it was given. I always rebelled against the hand that it was given to me, because it wasn't given to me by this society to do better. It was my rebellion and not letting normal America make a difference in how many people say this is right. It didn't gel with me in spirit. And my own spirit made me do and denounce what I felt that was dealt to me. Create other hand. I'm a creator. I'm not God, the creator, but I could create. I could do things. And God knew that if I changed myself, humble myself down first, and be obedient and recognize who is the guiding light, and put that light before my life, then my life would be a full life like it are today. I feel great, good in everything I've done and doing right now today, because all of my life, again, added to what I am today. So none of my existing on this life that I've experienced now on this side of the world, I'm proud, because now I can see what love and respect really is.
Okay, Mr. Lucas, we are going to a break, and you are listening to Church Without Walls, area code 504-341-8255. We'll be back, and we're going to be talking about preparing a future. We'll be back.
This is Jill Samuels with Faith That Works. Join us every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time and 12 noon on New Orleans Talk Network as we change the lives of people with the Word of God by equipping the body of Christ to evangelize the world while reconciling people back to God. Let us continue to carry the water to the desert because Jesus is the living water.
Stop this hauling water to the sea.
Join in on Mondays from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for Breaking the Silence with Dr. Patricia Fry. There are no limitations or boundaries. We talk about life, and guess what? That includes you. So download the app today, New Orleans Talk Network, and subscribe on YouTube. That's every Monday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. New Orleans Talk Network, Breaking the Silence with Dr. Patricia Fry.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
There's soul food, and then there's food for the soul. At a time where we live to eat, the Praline Connection restaurant serves up recipes that reach back into days long gone. You know, the kind of meals your mama cooked up for Sunday dinner. Fried chicken with macaroni and cheese and candied yams, homemade meatloaf with garlic mashed potatoes and string beans, or Nolan's filet gumbo. That's the real soul you get only at the Praline Connection restaurant, located at the Kona, Charles and Frenchman Street in the Marinade.
We are back. You are listening to Church Without Walls with Charles Stewart and Reverend Anthony Williams. Our studio guest today is Mr. Harry Lucas. And I say if you'd like to get in on this conversation, area code 504-341-8255. And we certainly enjoying our studio guest this morning. He's sharing his life experience with us, and oftentimes people don't like to open up and talk about the past because sometimes the past could be painful for people. And I admire people that can talk about the past. And to be honest with you, Mr. Lucas, some of my past, I don't like talking about it. You know, give you, for instance, a young lady I used to date years ago, and she had called me and told me she was a single woman again. And so we began to talk on the telephone, you know, on and off. And about the third or fourth time we started talking, she started bringing up some of the things that happened in the past, the reason why, you know, we didn't get together. And, you know, I told her, I said, well, you're talking about 30 years ago, so I don't want to talk about that. I mean, I would appreciate it if you didn't bring Mary Sue and Jane and all this in our conversation. I would appreciate that. And she said, oh, you don't want to talk about it? I said, no, I don't want to talk about it. She said, okay, then. So we moved on. A few weeks later, again, she brought the same thing back up again. So I told her, I said, I thought we made agreement that we wouldn't talk about that. And she said, well, I want to talk about it. I said, well, yeah, what you want to talk about? I said, look, when you get over not talking about it, then you call me. I hung the phone up. So something that done helped me in the past that is bad. You don't want to talk about it, so I commend you for talking about your past. And also, Mr. Lucas, that I always tell people, my belief, what I believe. I believe that if you would put God first in your life, and, the Bible tells us that God will direct our path. He will guide us and lead us and take us to a higher height. I believe that. I believe that in spite of everything what's going on, like what's going on with the president, what's going on with Congress, what's going on with the mayor taking down statues and all that. I see all that, but I believe that put God first and he'll direct our path. But Mr. Look, what I would like for our listeners to know that you have to put together a plan of operation in your life. And I would like to get your opinion upon a young man that want to get his life together, a young lady, the step of putting together a plan for their life if they put God first. Number one is put God first.
All right, y'all. That's a very unique question. I don't think I could say nothing in specific to make that all right, because I do believe that God got his time and everything happened on time, in spite of God saying that, Harry, I made you a free agent different from any other creature on this planet. And at the same time, give me a choice. So in my choice, if I'm ready, God might not be ready for me at that particular time. And a lot of time we think things are drag, but I'm telling you, everything in my life that has happened to my life is a blessing, because I wouldn't be what I am today. So either my going to jail or doing this or relationships or that or that, all that added up to me being the Harry Lucas today, and God at the right time took in control and humbled me down. And that's my guiding light. And at the same time, I'm still struggling with trying to find my way. And at the same time, I know I'm going to find my way because I got faith. I got the belief that he will not allow me to go wrong. And as long as I have that thought and spirit in my mind, then I'm going to go through this life with love and compassion and giving and sharing God's word, my life with freedom, because nothing about your life should be a secret. And that lady calling you, I'd have dealt with it different. Okay, baby, let's take that we went through and let's deal with it like this. Either we should or shouldn't. Now, I ask you, if we bring up the past, let's use the past as a guide to keep us from going through conflict. But at the same time, if you can't get that understanding, then that's evidence that you should move on.
Right.
So not
That's exactly what I did.
You move on with bang. That ain't the way. We got to always show honor, respect, and clarification with I ain't about nonsense. And hanging up still didn't make her solve her problem, because eventually she'll call you back, or she might just say, I'm going to let it go. But you want to feel free. Say, baby, none of my past is nothing I got to hide, because it's life.
Right.
And it's me. And if I say I'm going to hide any of my past, there's some things I never would do again in life.
Right.
But I ain't ashamed of nothing I done in life.
But, look, so if she called me back, that means she got over it. But if she don't call me back,
no,
it's all good.
No, if she call you back, she just hoping she catch you at a moment that you could deal with her appetite. Her appetite is trying to find out where and get some clarity what y'all been through the past. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But at the same time, what's wrong with it when you're not saying, let's deal with what's been a problem? It still is a problem, but now I have changed.
Well, the Bible kind of tells us the past is the past.
The past is the past, but we can't have a future without the past.
You got to move on.
Move on, but don't disnounce it.
Right. But Mr. Luger, also what I wanted to our listening audience, to one point that I want to get over to them is that, and I always like to say, what I believe and what God put on my mind to tell our listening audience.
Okay.
And today, like when it came up with this show, what are your plans for the future is, and my reason for coming up with that subject is that when you look at television, listen to radio, people, that come on the newscasters, they always say, in this community, it's hurting the president, the people that supported the president, they hurting. And they always got everybody, if you look in the city of New Orleans, they are disappointed because of the street got flooded, and they want to impeach the mayor. But when I looking at the tube, looking at television, in my mind, to me, I'm saying that if people stop and think, I think they said they had like 140 pumps. If they had 500 pumps, that won't stop New Orleans from flooding, because New Orleans ain't a bowl. And they said, well, we're gonna impeach him. And to impeach somebody, I know it takes several months. Like he only got 2 more months left, so that's a waste of time. That's why, in my mind, I say the people in New Orleans need to be planning upon what they gonna do the next time. Whoever gonna be the new mayor, the new councilman. You need to sit down and talk with them. Say, this is what we know in our city. We know if the good Lord lets a certain amount of rain drop in, say a minute, an hour, an inch, a mile, or whatever it may be, an hour, we know that we in a bowl. If that happened, what is our plan going to be, But to me, it's just like it's wasted time to the new reporters, they got people, I've seen hundreds of people marching, and they're holding town hall meeting. To me, that wasted time.
All right, Deacon, let's look at it like this. Let's go back to the past. That's why I say the past got to always be implemented with the present and the future. It's one of the same. Now, the past indicate that we don't have no real voices among not so much the leaders, among us as citizens. We got citizen rights. And if we sit back and allow people to tell us this and that without checking beforehand, have mercy on us. Mm. And at the same time, I do believe that now going back to the past and letting us see what's been done, we have a serious problem. Whether New Orleans is in a bowl, fix it. We had the capability, we got money, we got people, we got situation, but we have taken away wetland. We're doing other things, condominium, other unnecessary things, wasting energy and time, exploiting people with taxes and doing that. Let's utilize our energy as one community and do something for the community that will safeguard all our lives. What we experience, pointing fingers that this, the mayor, this and that, it's a bunch of us. We know better. We're not getting out and demanding the politician to do what they can do, not serve the people that's there, the old good boy operation. That's been gonna be, but we can eliminate some of that because we got sense now. We got knowledge. We got Facebook. We got Instagram. We got all kind of things, Google to give us information, to call in, to change things beforehand. You don't wait till something happens, then try to deal with it. Prevention is always better than treatment. I firmly believe that. We know where we at with this city. Enough money is floating in. We got to redirect our energy and get off our, like Ray Nagin said, get off our butt and be more demanding. Be more active and telling a person who is in charge, this is what we expect. We're not going to tolerate nothing less. Crime and everything is out of proportion. Love is gone. Until we bring love and peace and treat poverty in a fair way, then we're going to continue to have the same thing. We're going to continue to be dealing with yesteryear problem that we could deal with the modern technique of today if we choose to do it today.
Well, Mr. Luke, certainly hear what you're saying, but I guess as a person that watch the news, look at the news, that been being said a lot. That's why I was saying we need to plan, like we need to plan our future because, like I say, I agree with you saying you can take the past, but I'm saying since they know that the pump not going to handle it, if God so, see fit that it rain, you get a certain amount of rain, pump not going to handle that. So I would say put together a plan, and like I said, we complain instead of putting together a plan because when you really look at it, we use in New Orleans as for instance, but we look over the whole country. You see people complaining about we don't have enough job, but Mr. Lucas, I'm more than sure that if you look on your street, look in the city, if you look anywhere where people complaining about they not making enough money, they don't have this, and that's a problem that they create themselves because number one, when I was a little boy, my grandparents them raised me, and they say when it came time, to go to school or they were buying your outfit for church or something, you went to the store with them, and the only reason why you went to the store with them for you to try it on. Mm-hmm. But they got these kids these days, they go to the store, they saying, I want this, I want that, I want Nikes, I want, some kind of Michael Jordan. But when I was young, I didn't have that opportunity. I just went to the store. And even if they put the clothes on you, fit it, and you know what they did? They would tell you, put on that there, and they say, oh, that size. You say, grandpa or grandmother, this size look good on me. And they said, well, you take that off and you'll get a size bigger. Why? Because they knew you was going to grow another inch in a few months from now. So they weren't buying you nothing that in 2 or 3 weeks it was too small. So the choices that we make today is we not planning, we not thinking out. And I'll tell you something else, Mr. Luke, you can look at. People that complain about they don't have this, but if you drive down the street, and I know it's almost in every neighborhood that they let you park on the street, these people who crying about they don't have no money, but you got 4 or 5 cars in front of the house. Mm-hmm. Because they hadn't sat down and thought of a plan and said, well, we don't need 5 cars, we can have 2 cars.
You know what it is? I'm hearing you, but I'm hearing a different thing, and I'm seeing it in a different light. I'm seeing it a desperation of ignorance that's circulating with conditional enslavement. Knowledge is about power. Knowledge is about changing life. Knowledge enable one to make a course of plan when he or she have the type of freedom. But there's a systematically sense of genocide and exploitation going around that prohibit one to have the natural right to do that in freedom to really prepare himself. But that's no excuse for we not preparing. But when you see a person riding around in the community with a Cadillac and don't even have a house or no clothes or nothing else, don't worry about mattress or something to sleep on, then you know that's a misinformed sister or brother. But that's coming from neglect. Because once you know self and know back the old school parents bought clothes with a little money and went a long way. Today we buying little clothes but buying expensive clothes that we don't need because we are trained to think clothes and other material cars and houses define who we are. And none of that make us. You are you by your God-given right. And you don't need none of that to really exist. Basic air and life will go on in the same order because I know I took little money and did a whole lot with my life.
Okay, I would certainly like to thank our guest, studio guest today, businessman Harry Lucas, who stopped by the studio today, and we're so happy that he took time out of his busy schedule to come in and share with us what he think and what he done did. He did both of them today. So we thank him for being a part of the show today. And we also thank those for listening and watching. I want to do a shout out in Kenner to Sheila and to everyone that have listened to the show. We thank last week Dr. Grant, the president of West Side, for being our guest last week. So we thank everybody for participating. Remember, you are the church. And we love everybody. We love you. We love you. Love you. We always end the show by saying, it's no such thing as being half dead. If you're dead, you're dead. We love you.
And we love you for life.